To get into a top graduate school, my sister and her roommate thought about raising a ghost for luck. I warned her not to go down that path, cautioning her about potential consequences. She got scared and gave up the idea. But later, her roommate went ahead and got into one of the most prestigious universities in the country. My sister was red with envy. She blamed me for missing her chance at a top school, and in her rage, she pushed me into the Yellow River to drown. What she didn't know is that raising a ghost binds you for life. If something goes wrong, it can backfire and lead to a terrible fate. Suddenly, I found myself back at the moment before my sister planned to raise a ghost. I tried to breathe, but my lungs filled with cold, muddy water. The Yellow River's current was relentless, filling my nose and mouth. I tried to scream, but every attempt at reaching the surface only revealed my sister's gloating face on the ferry. She watched me struggle, drifting further away. Fear consumed me as the world around me became blurred. After a violent cough, air filled my lungs again. I opened my eyes to a world that seemed normal. I was home in dry clothes, as if the drowning never happened. But the memory of the cold and suffocation lingered. It all felt real. "Sis, what are you spacing out for? Move over." My sister's voice jolted me back. I turned to see her with a puzzled look, different from the vengeful expression on the ferry. "Nothing," I mumbled. "I'm off to the library for some study. Exams are near, and time is short," she said. Exams? Studying? Wasn't she already a graduate, having failed the entrance exams, and been working for years? As she walked away, I checked my phone. I was back before she took the entrance exams. Have I been reborn? Is this not a dream? Slumping onto the sofa, I tried to calm myself. If I've really been given a second chance, then what happened with her pushing me into the river must have been real. My own sister, angered by my advice against raising a ghost, chose murder over a brighter future. To her, my life meant less than an uncertain future. With a sister like that, I don't need her either. That evening, my sister came home looking secretive, her emotions all over the place. This felt just like before. Surely her roommate Alice had mentioned raising a ghost. But my sister was still undecided, and I knew she'd ask me again. This time, I'd stay out of it completely. Her life is her choice. "Sis, I need to discuss something with you," she said. I feigned ignorance. "What's up?" "Alice has a way for us to get into a good grad school. But it sounds kind of scary," she said. Last time, I asked about the specifics, only to dissuade her from a path I thought was wrong. She hesitated and avoided it, only to fail the exams while Alice succeeded. My sister spiraled, blaming me for everything, even plotting against me. Now, as she asked again, I gave a vague reply. "Luna, I don't really know where you stand in your studies, so I can't advise you. I trust you'll make the right choice." She was unhappy with my refusal to give her advice and stormed off to her room. "This lifetime, let's just lead separate lives. She can have her world, and I'll focus on mine. With this second chance, I wouldn't waste it. Instead of superstitions, I'd focus on making money and building a career." I started researching finance news of the time, checked my account balance, and invested half of it in stocks set to rise soon. The rest I planned to use with my friend Lily to start an e-commerce venture. Lily was more than eager to leave her soul-crushing job. Our plan was to create a TikTok channel with her starring in skits that subtly promoted our products. Once our follower count was high enough, we'd launch live streams. I was sure this model would be a hit. The next day, Lily and I handed in our resignation letters. Our boss's complaints didn't bother us. After a brief handover, we collected our things and left. When I got home, I was shocked by my sister's state. She seemed filled with anger, ready to explode at anything. She wasn't usually this bad. Then I noticed a dark shadow hunched on her shoulder. It was small, shaped like a nesting doll. No features, just a cluster of darkness. It was a ghost. She'd gone down that path after all. I must have stared too long because she snapped. "Mary, if you look at me that way again, I'll hit you." Our dad overheard her disrespectful behavior and snapped as well. "Hey brat, who let you talk to your sister like that?" My little sister scoffed. "Old man, you won't admit it, but you're totally biased. You don't value me, your soon-to-be grad student daughter, but always side with that older daughter who just graduated college." You'll regret this for sure. Dad wanted to go after Luna to give her a piece of his mind, but I quickly stopped him. I noticed the shadow on my sister's shoulder got darker, like it was growing. After some persuasion, Dad calmed down, sulking on the couch. Luna, seeing he wasn't continuing the fight, seemed disappointed, huffed, and slammed the door on her way out. Once she was gone, I finally let out a long sigh of relief. She's given in to the temptation and chosen to rely on some dark magic to boost her grad school chances. After my sister left, Dad sighed and complained, "Sigh. You've been so busy these days, not even home, you wouldn't know. Your sister's had this sudden change of personality, always lashing out and finding reasons to argue with us. Not just us, even our neighbors and the property management haven't been spared." My heart sank. Clearly, her temper was influenced by that sinister thing. Just now when Dad was arguing, the shadow on her definitely shifted. Could it be that it feeds off negative emotions and vibes, constantly affecting her mood? It's creepy, something few would believe. I didn't want to explain too much to my parents, but I couldn't let them stew in negativity either. Not good for their health. I advised Dad, "Don't worry too much. Maybe she's just stressed about her exams." Mom came out of the kitchen, nodding in agreement. "Yeah, you as her sister should talk to her. Don't let her stress herself into sickness." To reassure them, I pretended to agree. Honestly, I'd rather keep my distance from her. Making money is more important. I've gathered lots of skit ideas and drafts and can't wait to start filming. Lily thinks we should chill and adjust after just quitting our jobs before diving into new work. After some heated debates, we finally agreed to travel while filming skits, blending work with fun. This season, the best place to visit is Chuanzhou, Fujian. The hair flower trend hasn't caught on yet, so even if we can't start the trend as small bloggers, it's still an uncommon sight for people. Another reason I chose Chuanzhou is its mini temples, known as the earthly offices of the gods. I hope to find a way there to protect me and my parents. I can do without my heartless sister. But if I abandon my parents too, what kind of person would I be? During our trip, we roamed around filming skits. And maybe because I was relaxed, the shooting process was filled with laughter and good vibes. It was the off-season for tourism, so there weren't many people, letting us explore freely. Passing by a uniquely grand old-school-styled temple buzzing with people, we had to go in. An elderly woman with a kind face sat on an old bamboo chair, her aura warm and peaceful. As I entered, she looked up. A gentle smile naturally appeared on her lips. Her eyes were full of welcome and care, like she was saying, "Child, come here." I found myself drawn to her, as her fingers gently caressed a handkerchief on her lap. "Child, you've finally come," she said in a soft, slightly raspy voice. "Don't be afraid. This is for you." She reached out her hands, marked by history, revealing 4 woven red threads. "Take them and give them to your loved ones. They'll keep you safe." I received them with reverence, about to ask how much, but she seemed to read my mind, waving her hands repeatedly and pointing at the donation box under the deity's statue. I nodded, taking Lily, who was a bit clueless, over to the statue. After offering incense and money, we knelt before it, hands in prayer with the red threads between our palms, sincerely praying for protection. After leaving the temple, I gave 1 red thread to Lily, wore 1 myself, and carefully kept the other 2 for my parents. We'd nearly wrapped up our filming task, and were ready to truly enjoy our trip, when an unexpected call from Mom cut our journey short. "Mary, your dad's in the hospital, you gotta come back quick." Scared, we booked the earliest flight and rushed back. Once the plane landed, we dashed straight to the hospital with our luggage in tow. "Mom, what's up with Dad?" I asked, worried, seeing him lying there with bandaged head and hands. Mom wiped a tear and whispered, "It's your temperamental sister again. Arguing with the neighbor downstairs almost got physical. Your dad tried to protect her and got hurt. Is his injury serious? What did the doctors say?" Mom sighed, looking at Dad asleep. "Good thing your dad's usually on good terms with people. It was just that moment he rushed in that he got hit with a brick and fell, fracturing his hand and cutting his head." Luna surely stirred things up. I vaguely remember the guy downstairs, a generally amicable neighbor who'd greet people. To think she provoked him to the point of wanting to use a brick. And where's my sister? I don't see her around. Mom frowned. When your dad fell, rather than helping him up, she continued arguing with the guy, then threatened him with the police over the phone. When I got there, she just left your dad on the ground. I was so mad, I slapped her, and she stormed off. An ambulance was called by other neighbors. Your sister isn't just temperamental now, she's becoming heartless. Mom grew angrier, her voice raising, waking Dad up. Dad, how are you feeling? Should I call the doctor? My dad waved his okay hand and said tiredly, no need, I'm much better now. Your mom. She overreacted a bit, calling you guys back overnight for such a small thing. Didn't she worry about scaring the kids? My mom couldn't hold back anymore when she heard my dad's blame. She burst out. Seeing your head bleed so much, I was petrified. How could I think of anything else? And now you blame me? I quickly comforted her. Mom, don't cry. Lily and I had almost finished playing, and we're planning to come back tomorrow anyway. If you hadn't told me about the accident, I'd only worry more. You did the right thing. Lily chimed in, trying to lighten the mood. Yeah, Uncle and Auntie, I'm brave. I'm not scared. Mom finally smiled through her tears and gave Dad a look. Dad realized he misspoke, awkwardly apologized. All right, my dear. I understand you were just worried about me. Thanks for watching over me. I frowned a little. I didn't expect Luna's negative energy to affect her emotions constantly. And now it's affecting my parents. This won't do. Once Dad's out of the hospital, I must find a way for them to move away, or get my sister to leave. Dad, Mom, I got you some protection strings from the temple. Keep them on, don't take them off. Mom happily took it and put it on her wrist. Dad looked awkward holding the red string, frowning. How can I, a grown man, wear this? I'll be laughed at. I laughed, he had a point. I suggested tying it to his keychain. How about now? Remember to keep it with you, Dad. Don't lose it. Dad looked at the keychain's red string and joked. What? Went on a trip and came back all superstitious. I glanced at his bandaged up hand and shrugged. Sometimes things don't need a reason. Do you believe it or not? Dad helplessly laughed. Of course, I'll keep it with me all the time. Even though Dad's injuries weren't too serious. With a head injury, the doctor recommended monitoring him in the hospital for a few days. During those days, Luna didn't show up once. She only called to say she's busy with grad school exam prep, and used it as an excuse not to visit. With her absent, I tried convincing my parents to move out with me, but they can't bear to leave their house. I just kept reminding them, don't argue with my sister again, and never remove the red string. After her exams, Luna confidently came back home, telling my parents to prepare for her grad school celebration. Confused, they asked why celebrate before results come out. Luna started accusing them. You're both biased. When my sister got into a top university, you threw her a celebration, but not for me. Dad looked bewildered. Your grandpa insisted on your sister's party. When your acceptance letter came, I wanted to throw one too, but you refused, scared of being compared to your sister. That's on you, not us. Luna couldn't find a comeback, and threw a fit. I don't care. I'll get into a top grad school, and be better than her. You must throw me a party. Dad, too tired to argue, just said, we'll see after the results. Mom only told me about this when she was venting on the day of the party. I'd been busy with my studio and shoots, rarely going home. My hustle helped me forget the fear of Luna's ghost. When I saw her next, the dark shadow on her shoulder had taken a human form with features. It was an angry child glaring hatefully at everyone. When our eyes met, it realized I could see it and made faces at me. I pretended not to notice, sweeping my gaze past it. Luna strutted over smugly. I heard you quit your job and are still unemployed? I hadn't told the family about quitting to start a business. It's like the saying goes, keep a low profile before making it big. Seeing me silent, thinking she'd hit a sore spot, she got more excited. Oh, so a top uni grad ends up back home sponging. Relatives glanced over, drawn by her words. Mom, worried we'd argue and embarrass her in front of everyone, hastily came over. What are you two so excited about on this happy day? Go greet the guests. Luna shot me a look, then strutted off to the main table. Hey Uncle, Aunt, long time no see. What's Jackson been up to lately? Uncle's grandson, engrossed in a game, casually answered, driving a cab. Luna giggled. Oh, cab drivers work hard. That's what happens without education. Not like me. I'll graduate from a prestigious grad school with high-paying jobs waiting for me. Uncle, quick-tempered, was instantly upset. What do you mean by that? Luna feigned innocence, just spitting facts. Some people can't handle it. Aunt tried easing the tension with a strained smile. Luna was always bright in school. Jackson, learn from your aunt, and aim for a prestigious grad school too. Jackson looked up from his phone, promising his grandma with a smile. Don't worry, Grandma, I'll study hard. Luna, unable to stand their happy scene, snorted at him. A phone addict, and you think he can get into a good grad school? I doubt he'll even make it to college. Uncle couldn't hold back anymore. It's one thing to point out his son, but belittling his grandson crossed the line. He shot up angrily. You little brat. Just because you're in grad school, you're looking down on everyone? My grandson did nothing to you. Why belittle him? He continued, with your attitude, even if you graduate, no one would hire you. What boss would want an employee who doesn't respect others? For Luna heard her uncle badmouth her, and couldn't swallow her anger. She pointed her finger at him and snapped, Am I wrong? Your son is just a taxi driver. What kind of good student can he raise? He's at a genetic disadvantage already. Her uncle, hearing her insult his family's genes, was furious and rolled up his sleeves, ready to fight. Today I'm going to teach you a lesson for your dad, you arrogant and rude brat. Luna didn't back down and taunted, Come on. Let's see how long your old bones can last in jail. You touch a single hair on me, and I promise you I'll press charges. Seeing the chaos, her aunt rushed to hold her uncle back, while other relatives and friends stepped in to separate them. Her dad intervened, apologizing repeatedly and bending over. Brother, it's my fault for not teaching her well. I'm sorry on her behalf. Please calm down. Her uncle angrily pointed a finger at her dad and began berating him. David, I've been taking care of you and your family for 10 years. And now that your kids achieved something, you look down on us? Ungrateful. Her dad just nodded submissively, not daring to argue back. Seeing her dad apologize on her behalf, Luna sneered from behind him, Why apologize? I'm just telling the truth. Enough of that old gratitude talk, I'm tired of hearing it. Her mom couldn't take it anymore, stepped forward, and slapped Luna across the face. If you don't want to host this graduation party, then leave or shut up. Luna held her cheek, glaring at her mom with resentment. I'll remember that slap. Realizing the meal was going nowhere, her aunt tugged her uncle and Jackson, ready to leave. Let's go. We can't afford to eat their food. No need to keep in touch anymore. Let's just pretend we're not related. Her dad, feeling hurt, rushed to stop them. Brother, we're family. It's my fault for not raising my daughter right. Please forgive me. I quickly stepped in with a wrapped gift for Jackson. It was initially a birthday gift for my nephew Lily, but it seemed fitting now. Jackson, I'm apologizing on Luna's behalf. She shouldn't have been so rash about your future. I believe you'll be a great kid one day. Here's the latest learning device for you, complete with a series of courses. I hope it boosts your studies. Jackson glanced at his still upset parents, then sweetly accepted my gift. Thank you, Auntie. I will study hard and live up to everyone's expectations. I gently patted his head. I believe in you too. Keep it up. Seeing Jackson not affected by Luna's words and happily accepting my present, my uncle's anger diminished slightly. But he insisted on leaving. I can't enjoy this meal. That precious graduate daughter of yours hasn't achieved anything yet, and she's already so arrogant. Teach her to learn a thing or two from her sister. He raised his voice purposefully in that last line. Luna glanced at him with displeasure, then looked at me coldly, huffed, turned around, and happily walked back into the banquet hall. Uncle and aunt, holding Jackson's hand, walked out without hesitation. My dad watched his brother leave, sighed helplessly. What have we done to deserve this? My mom tried to comfort him, while I dispersed the surrounding relatives with a forced smile. During the party, I kept glancing at Luna, who was hanging out with her roommate Alice. Luna's voice would fluctuate in volume, and her laughter was too loud. Alice would occasionally look at me with curiosity. Initially, I didn't overthink it, but as I observed her, I noticed Alice's shoulder didn't have a little ghost. In the past life, It was Alice who used the ghost to succeed. Why is it only Luna this time? Just then, Luna's childhood friend showed up and confidently left Alice behind to greet her. When Luna wasn't looking, Alice got up and being sneaky approached me. Hey sis, can we chat privately? She shot a quick glance back at Luna's spot. I nodded and followed her to the bathroom, curious about the lack of the ghost on her shoulder. Alice, what's up? I asked. Instead of answering directly, Alice talked about my work. I'm a fan of your videos. They're really unique and ahead of their time, but look familiar. Her words hit a nerve, and I unconsciously stepped back. She noticed my reaction, stepped closer, and whispered, Sis, you've been reborn too, haven't you? My eyes widened in shock too. Alice nodded. No wonder she didn't have a ghost. And no wonder Luna had that smug victorious look towards her. In the previous life, after stopping Luna, I only heard from her that Alice had succeeded and found a good job after graduation. Luna had been full of envy and regret whenever she talked about it. Then your exams? Alice shrugged nonchalantly. I failed, but it doesn't matter. As long as I'm free, I can do anything I want just like you. Freedom? Alice smirked. Yeah, after using the ghost before I was bound to it. It thrived on people's grievances and anger, constantly nudging me to argue with others and wanting me to hurt them. I couldn't stand its cruel methods and tried to shake it off, but it found out and punished me by making me watch as my whole family died and forcing me to kill myself. As Alice recounted her painful past, her voice filled with bitterness, I swallowed hard, feeling uneasy and worried inside. I was worried that what happened to Alice's family would happen to us too. I never expected that letting my sister keep her little pet would pose such a big risk. Alice noticed I was uneasy and tried to reassure me. She said, Sis, don't worry too much. Look at Luna, she's enjoying herself. I think they'll get along just fine. I'll keep in touch and let you know if anything comes up. Let's exchange numbers. Having someone watching over Luna made me feel better, like I could avoid unnecessary trouble. After we added each other, we parted ways to avoid making Luna suspicious. The live streaming platform was going great. Our sales were going up, and Lily and I soon made our first chunk of money. We planned to buy apartments in the city center and be neighbors. It was like a dream come true. Alice would occasionally update me about Luna. I heard she's getting into the streaming game. From the way she talks, it seems like she's looking down on you while trying to copy you. That night, Luna announced on her social media that she would be starting a channel, sharing academic stuff as a smart woman. She set up an account and invited people to follow her. I thought about giving her a like, but decided not to. Then during my live stream, she showed up, confirming she had been watching me. During the stream PK, she started off by saying, Hello everyone. I'm the cool sister from across the way, a grad student at XXX University. This is my first time streaming, please be kind. I'll be live every night to study with you. Hit me up with any questions. When fans saw my sister, they started liking and commenting, saying one of us is smart, and the other is funny. But then Luna had to dig at me. Well, yeah, we're like complete opposites. I loved studying since I was a kid, while my sister was always skipping classes. Don't be like her. I couldn't take it and just rolled my eyes, fake smiling. If skipping classes still got me into a top college, that wouldn't be fair to all the hard-working students. She's just joking, y'all. A fan asked, if sis graduated from a top 985 college, wouldn't the grad school sister have a more prestigious undergrad? Her expression changed. Undergrad doesn't matter. It's my grad school and advisor that count. I gently reminded the fans of her undergrad, which got some reactions from her former classmates. What? Our school isn't good enough to mention? If you forget your roots, your character is lacking. I kept a polite smile and guided the chatter. Hey, don't be mad. She's trying to be a role model, showing that you can reach a better place no matter where you start from. Many fans weren't having it though and threw shade at Luna, which made her leave the stream angrily. I've noticed that her pet is much bigger now, and Luna seems darker, with a gloomy energy around her. I visit my parents weekly. Today, before I even got inside, I heard Luna bossing our mom around. As soon as I walked in, I couldn't help but snap. Looks like some grad students can't even take care of themselves. What's that saying? High scores, low capabilities, right? Mom was happy I came, dropped Luna's dirty laundry, and came over to greet me. Every visit, I bring lots of stuff for them, healthy food and supplements. Mom always brags about my filial piety to her friends. After dinner, Mom was off for her dance class. The three of us left the building and ran into some of Mom's dancing buddies. Auntie Chun was curious. Sister Ching, I heard your daughter bought a place at Garden No. 1. Mom smiled a bit embarrassed. Yes, she mentioned it, but I haven't seen it yet. Luna's jaw dropped when she heard about Garden No. 1 and then burst out laughing. Huh, Mary, come on. Get your stories straight before bragging. How much does Garden No. 1 cost per square foot? That shabby account of yours could afford it? I replied coldly, I've already bought it, so I'm pretty sure I know what it costs. And with understanding like that, you got into grad school? Seems like your method of success needs some discussion. Luna rolled her eyes. You think you can just say you bought it? I don't believe you. I shrugged. Does it matter what you believe? Gonna help me with the down payment if you do. Luna got more upset with my attitude, then scorned. You make money by scamming fans. It's pathetic, and you'll get what you deserve. I shrugged again. With how you got where you are, maybe you should watch out for karma. She looked shocked when I directly confronted her secret, paused for a few seconds, then aggressively warned me. Watch your words. I'll sue you for slander if you dare to accuse me. Your career will soon be toast. When the bank takes your home, I might help you by buying it cheap. I was unfazed. No need to worry yourself, sis. Focus on your academics. This industry stinks of money, not suitable for you. Remember the stream incident? Netizens are like Sherlock now. Better not dig deeper if you don't want things exposed. Luna, seeing my indifference, couldn't swallow her pride. Jealousy eating at her, she left without a word. Mom shook her head, sighed, as Alice sent me a new contact. 6 So sis, some classmates are saying someone reported Luna for bullying a poor student named Cindy. They say Luna threatened Cindy, using her connection with that rich kid advisor to make Cindy shut up, or else she'd lose her scholarship. I asked curiously, do you know who that student is? I do. In my past life, that little demon coaxed me into bullying her. But that student was really pitiful. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And that was the first time I went against the demon's wishes. I couldn't stand the thought of someone being hurt because of Luna. So I asked Alice for all the info she knew. Then, using skits, I turned Luna's bullying of Cindy into a series of short clips. They got a lot of shares, and soon enough, people recognized the characters and the places in the videos. As the buzz grew, more classmates started speaking out about Luna's past bullying. The school took this seriously, announcing they'd fairly and publicly investigate. If any bullying was found, there'd be severe consequences. However, with the demon's help, the school couldn't find solid proof for over a month. Either surveillance footage disappeared or witnesses couldn't provide evidence. Some students even deleted comments or changed their stories. Luna ended up gaining some fame on short video platforms from all this, her popularity rising, gaining a ton of followers. She went as far as targeting Cindy, breaking down in tears during a live stream, claiming Cindy framed her. Luna said she had genuinely tried to help, only to be backstabbed and accused of bullying. With no evidence from the school, Luna twisted it into clearing her name. The online mob, fueled by Luna's manipulation, began to curse and harass Cindy on her social media, leading Cindy to shut down her accounts. Some who watched my skits guessed I was hinting at Luna and came after my account. My followers couldn't stand by, sparking their own online battle against Luna's fans. Some even threatened to find and attack me in real life, making Lily fear for my safety, urging me to stay home. I screenshotted all threatening accounts, comments, and messages, then reported everything to the police. Despite the onslaught, it had no real impact on me, as my skits were clearly labeled as fiction. Accounts with extreme messages got banned, and the uproar began to die down. But things weren't as smooth for Cindy at school. Luna flipped her script, acting like the big sister, pretending to be wronged and weak, and encouraging her real-life fans to bully Cindy in secret. The pressure got to Cindy, and she attempted to jump off a building on campus. Thankfully, she was saved in time and survived. Alice messaged me immediately, "Sis, Luna's gone off the deep end. She's a monster now." I felt guilty looking at the red cord I held, regretting that others were falling victim to my sister. I decided to visit that old lady in Chuanzhou again, to see if there was a way to resolve this. Just before leaving, a private message caught my eye. "Are you Luna's sister?" "Yes, I am. I'm Cindy's brother. I returned the money you donated. Your sister acts nice, you act nice. But we don't need your fake sympathy." I thought of Cindy's financial situation, feeling bad that her family saw me so negatively despite my intention to help with medical bills. "I'm sorry if it made you uncomfortable. The money was just a personal gesture, not related to Luna. I'm not like her." I tried to help Cindy before but couldn't beat Luna. After a long silence, I thought he wasn't going to reply. Just as I was about to close the message, he asked to meet. The meeting place? The hospital where Cindy was treated. Following the room number he provided, I found her floor. It was strangely quiet, nothing like a typical bustling hospital ward. Knocking on the door, I entered to find a single bed in the room. A man dressed in a dark gray suit sat on the sofa, coldly staring at me. "Are you Cindy's brother?" He nodded. I hesitated. "You don't look like a poor student's sibling." But I didn't finish. He understood. "I'm Ethan," he introduced. My eyes widened. He was the CEO of the famed Taylor Group. My shock didn't surprise him at all, as he turned back to look at Cindy on the bed. "Her real name is Emily. She was kidnapped as a child. We've been trying everything to find her. If not for this incident, where the hospital matched her blood type and DNA, I don't know when, or if, I'd see her again." Was this a blessing in disguise? I inquired about Cindy's injuries before asking Ethan why he wanted to see me. "You and your cold-blooded sister are definitely different. I need you to clear something up for me." "Go ahead. I'm aware of the things Luna did to my sister. Frankly, I've tried retaliating in kind, yet all attempts have failed. I suspect things aren't as straightforward as they seem." I kept my mouth shut, knowing it was the demon shielding Luna. Ethan, seeing my silence, warned, "Even without your input, eventually, I'll uncover her secret. But I can't guarantee it won't impact your family." I stared at him, absorbing his threat. "Luna, you're in deep now. Mr. President, I get you're worried about your sister. I never intended to cover for Luna, so no need for threats," I replied. Settling beside him, I continued, "You business types must have heard about keeping a demon, right?" As soon as the words were out of my mouth, the lights in the room flickered, and then went out, plunging us into darkness. Surrounded by thick gloom, I could only hear the beeping of the machines and our breathing. It felt like invisible eyes were watching us, making the hairs on my body stand on end as a chill ran up my spine. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind rushed towards us. Startled, I moved closer to Ethan, tightly closing my eyes and instinctively raising my hand to shield us. The red string on my wrist was exposed, and the wind stopped abruptly. It felt like my lifeline. I waved my wrist around, holding my breath, my heart pounding like it would leap out of my chest. But I stayed alert and slowly moved to the switch, quickly turning the lights back on. The room was finally bright again. Ethan immediately went to the bed and pressed the button to call the doctor. With my heart still racing, I took a deep breath to calm the stormy emotions inside. After the doctor finished checking Cindy, Ethan's tension began to ease. "Thank you, Miss Mary," he said gratefully. I waved it off, saying, "That was pretty scary. It must have been a revenge thing coming after us." Ethan nodded. "Don't worry. Now that we know what's up, we can fix it. I'll have the driver take you home later. I'm sorry for the trouble tonight." His tone was much softer now. I sat in the car, fiddling with the red string on my wrist, thinking back on the fierce look in his eyes earlier. "Luna, you better take care of yourself." 2 weeks later, I got a friend request from Cindy. She seemed to be on the mend. "Mary, my brother told me you covered my medical bills, and even visited me at the hospital. I wanted to thank you in person." "No worries, you're lucky to bounce back from such a scary thing. Take care of yourself." We all decided not to bring up Luna, but I got a new message, and her name popped up. "Sis, help me out. Someone found video evidence of me bullying Cindy, and now her family is suing me. You've got money. Can you lend me some for a lawyer, and maybe pay some damages?" Ignoring her plea, I cut contact and locked my phone. Then it rang again. It was Mom calling. "Mom, what's up?" I answered, surprised to hear my sister's voice instead. "Mary, it's me. You're dodging my texts, but you sure picked up quick for Mom's call." Afraid I'd hang up, Luna got to the point. "I need 100 grand in half an hour, or else, who knows what I'll do." Shock and anger flared up. "What did you do to Mom and Dad? They're our parents." Luna laughed bitterly. "Nothing yet, but soon. You never know. If I'm going down, I might as well take someone with me. I won't go alone." "You're insane," I yelled before hanging up, racing out the door while calling the cops and looping Ethan in for extra backup. Sitting anxiously in the car, I pulled up the security cameras I secretly set up for my parents' protection. The feed showed them tied up on the couch, as Luna paced with 2 phones, occasionally checking messages and muttering curses. Police were already in the hallway when I arrived, aiming to stay low-key and not set Luna off. I handed my phone to the officer in charge, who began assessing the room's situation through the live feed, crafting a plan to rescue my parents. My worry was through the roof. I was desperate to rush in and save them. Ethan showed up quietly with news. "Her backup's been dealt with." This gave me a slight relief. She was out of alliances. It must have been making her desperate enough to resort to this. Exactly half an hour later, Luna called again, sounding impatient. "Mary, where's that money? Don't you dare play games with me. I'm at my limit. I'll do anything." I relented. "I'll send you the money. But you release Mom and Dad as soon as you get it." She wavered, unsure but stuck, as I was her last lifeline now. She must have been ready to bolt once she got her hands on the cash, given she agreed. After transferring the money to her account, she got the alert. On the feed, I saw her smirk, gloating. "No wonder those old folks love my sis." Bam. 100 grand, just like that for them. "Don't worry. I'm out once I get the money. No debts between us." Luna was high on her little victory, not even considering the police waiting outside. Strutting towards the exit, she didn't make it to the elevator before officers pounced, taking her down effortlessly. I rushed past them into the apartment, freeing my parents. Mom clutched me in fear, fussing, "Sweetie, what were you thinking? Did she hurt you?" I reassured them quickly. "Dad, Mom, I'm okay." I called the cops. They caught her right when she stepped out. Dad, catching wind of her capture, stormed outside furiously, berating her where she stood cuffed. "How could you kidnap your own parents?" Luna glared at me fiercely, her eyes practically shooting daggers. "Mary, I'm your sister, and you really called the cops on me? I won't let you get away with this." I calmly glanced at her shoulders, which were indeed empty. Ethan's cash power really can't be underestimated. He moved quicker than anyone could react. "You're already in deep trouble yourself. How exactly do you plan to not let me get away with it?" My mom heard her cursing at me and angrily stepped forward, slapping her hard across the face until her cheeks were bright red. "You beast, it's as if I never gave birth to you." The police quickly took Luna away. Ethan consoled me a little before he left too. That's when Mom broke down crying, saying, "How did I end up raising such a monster?" Boo-hoo. My dad looked defeated, sighing, "It's my fault. I failed to raise her right." "Mom, Dad, don't blame yourselves. Everything is her own choice." I gently hugged my mom's shoulder, comforting her, filled with mixed emotions. There was a sense of relief and release, but also sadness. Postscript. With multiple offenses adding up, my sister got a pretty hefty sentence. Unfortunately, on the day of the trial, she still refused to show any remorse and glared at everyone there, vowing, "When I get out, I won't let you all off." But here's the twist. When she did get out, she was already a corpse. Officially, she died of a heart attack. But some insiders came to me, revealing the actual cause was her vital organs losing all their blood suddenly. Most likely, she died from some unspeakable dark magic backfiring. I understood immediately, and assured them I wouldn't dig any deeper. My parents grieved, but only for a while. Life needs to go on after all. They couldn't just wallow over a daughter who lost her conscience. I often think this ending is better than the past life, one daughter dead, the other worse off than dead. As for me, my career is thriving and life is smooth sailing. I'm doing great and content. The end.